Welcome to Happy Pace, the only podcast that we know of that is recorded while running. My name is Elaine Sims, and I am a co-host of this podcast alongside Gretchen Brune. As a birthday present to our nearest and dearest Gretchen, we are dropping 2 episodes in one day. So happy birthday, Gretchen! Thanks for being born. If you've ever wondered what goes into timing a race, this episode is for you. Josh Vitoux of Big River Race Management joins us to unveil the secrets and pressures of race timing, from high school track meets to the New York City Marathon. We are thrilled Josh could join us on this run in our satellite studio, Tower Grove Park in St. Louis, Missouri. Josh is a very humble person who is always excited to share his passion and knowledge of running and race timing. We are absolutely thrilled that he wanted to take the time out of his schedule to run and talk about running with us. Now, lest we forget, the best way to support Happy Pace is to subscribe. You can always weigh in on our Spotify polls, comment on our Instagram at happy_pace_podcast, and you'll also find us on TikTok under that same handle. Now, relax and join us in our Happy Pace. So, all right, Josh.
It is time.
It is time.
Okay.
So who are you? How do you pronounce your name for the listeners?
Right, so my last name is pronounced Vitoux. I'm Josh Vitoux. I work for Big River Race Management, and my title there is Director of Scholastic Athletics, which is a fancy way of saying I handle and oversee all of the track and cross-country meets that we take care of, mostly high school, some college, some youth, some middle school. I also help out with a lot of road races too, so yeah, that's me.
I like how you're like, my fancy title, and then, but really this is what I do.
Yep.
I mean, I love that we do talk mostly about, like, adult running. I'm excited to talk youth.
Sure,
the youth of America, the future.
Woo!
How long have you been with race management now?
Yes.
And how did you make that, like, your goal, your career goal?
Yeah, so I graduated college in December of 2018, and then when the year was over, 2019, I texted my old college coach, who actually worked for Big River at that point, and I said, "Hey, just graduated, need a job. Do you guys need help?" He said, "Sure." So my first race was in January 2019 that I helped them with. I was part-time for a little while. I was hoping that I could move into the full-time position through COVID, or not through COVID, but around when COVID, hit. So
yeah,
had to wait a little bit. And then in August 2021, we were in a position where I could come on full-time. Things were getting busier again. And I guess next month will be 4 years full-time.
Nice.
Or is that 3 years? 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. What am I doing?
I mean,
Yeah.
we're running.
Running in numbers are very difficult.
Yes. But yeah, so how did I want to make it my goal is just, I had a lot of fun that first year timing, and even from the start, I was helping out with cross-country and track, more than the road races. So just being a high school and college runner, that's where I like to be. I like road races, but I just like being around the prep stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice. So, did you in college where you're like, oh, this is something I want to do, or it was more like once you got into it, you're like, oh, okay, this is cool?
It was something that even as a fairly seasoned runner, I didn't really understand what it was. A lot of people don't understand what timing is.
Yeah.
Or what goes into it, how people do it, and I just always thought it was way more automatic than it really is, and it's all behind the scenes work mostly. Kind of philosophy within the timing world is if you have to talk to the timers, that's bad, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is no one notices us. You just you get your time, and that's that. You're happy.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what it was, but I knew that my coach worked there, so I was like, I'll see what they got going on.
Yeah.
And so my eyes were open to a whole new world.
Yeah, for sure. I was like, I have no idea what goes into it.
So on that note, what goes into timing a race?
Sure.
Or track meet?
Yeah. We can start with track and then maybe do road and then cross country, because the cross country is kind of a mix.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. So track, we use a system called Finish Links, which is high-tech, high-speed cameras. Way back in the day, they used Polaroids at the finish line. That's the term
Yeah.
photo finish comes from.
Did they have just like people standing at the sides and taking
Yeah.
Polaroids?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I actually met
Very advanced.
I know, yeah. I actually met a photographer at a track meet one time who was an older guy. He had a regular, modern camera, and he was telling me about how, decades ago he used to be the Polaroid guy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So then they would have to like stand there waiting for it to
Yeah.
develop.
To see if it was close to see who won.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was obvious, right? So you didn't really need to go to the photo.
Okay.
Sure.
But anyway, so yeah, there's two types of cameras that we use primarily. There's one that's called the side camera, and that we put about 10 feet from the finish line, usually on the infield of the track, and it goes directly in line with the finish line. And it's called a line scan camera, where you got to line it up, and it's like pinpointed on the white finish line, so that when someone crosses the finish line, finishes the race, you get to see exactly, like on my computer screen, I see an image, and every pixel that I see is the exact moment that they cross the line.
Oh, wow.
I use my mouse and click on their chest, the first thing, but the chest is what
Right.
standard what you go by.
Yeah.
Not your head, not your foot, not your hand. And then I can assign times that way. And the other camera is called an identify, it just links to the end. But that is a front-facing camera, so that if they have bibs on their chest or like uniforms, just an easier way to identify everybody. Make it easier to see their hip numbers. We usually use stickers that have their lane assignment on their hip and on their chest. Make it easier to see, who's who, and just make it really quick. So that's track. It's kind of a basic rundown there. Sometimes.
Nice pun.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, sometimes it's more complicated than that, but that's the basic setup. A lot of wires that connect everything together and all that.
Do people ever trip on them during
Yes.
events and
Often.
cause delays?
Well, I don't think I've personally had any major issues, but some of our guys, we have multiple crews that can do track timing, and some of our guys have had issues where someone's tripped on a wire while they weren't paying attention, knocked the camera over,
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God.
or yanked the computer off the table,
Yeah.
things like that. So it's not fun to deal with that, and so we try our best to keep people that don't know what they're doing out of our little area.
Yeah.
Yeah, road racing though is a bit different. Of course, everyone that's done a road race will at least recognize the mats on the ground
Yeah.
at the start and finish lines, and that's using RFID technology, which I don't really know exactly what that stands for.
I used to.
Yeah, I think it's like radio frequency something.
Yeah, ID.
Yeah, probably. And what that does is the mats project a little field, if you will, of radio, I guess, and it reads when someone has their tag on their bib and they run by. It reads the tag's coding that's within the tag and gives a timestamp for when they cross the line. And then those are powered and controlled by what we call controllers. Every system is a little bit different, has different terminology, but we use ChronoTrack, and those are called controllers. Basically like a big brain, if you will, that takes the data and via internet or Wi-Fi sends the data to our computers and our scoring system that processes it and produces time. So
vaguely, that is actually very similarly to how you when you have an access badge and you scan it at a door.
Yes.
And we call them controllers and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so anytime you're using, if you're at a hotel and you have, or even think if you have a tap card, credit card.
Yep.
It's the same kind of thing.
Okay.
RFID technology is everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of what we use is produced by companies that have nothing to do with racing, but it's just the same equipment, just in a different format.
Yeah.
Very
like that.
transferable.
Yeah.
It is, yes. Very prevalent. But then cross-country is a mix of that. So, because so many people finish so quickly, you need both systems, if it's a bigger race at least, at the same time. Both the cameras and the RFID stuff just makes the process faster. What I'll see on my screen, my computer, is everybody crossing the finish line. The chip will produce a time right in front of someone's body. It'll have a little dash line there that I can see. I use the cameras to verify that everybody is in the order that they're supposed to be in. Because the chips, if two people finish right beside each other, the chip isn't always accurate.
Yeah.
Since everybody starts at the exact same time for a cross-country meet.
Gotcha. So it goes by gun time?
It goes by gun time, yeah. So, whereas in a road race, if it takes 5-10 minutes for everyone to get through the start line.
Yeah.
If two people finish right next to each other at the finish line.
It could be completely different.
Yeah, it could be completely different. So, the chips are actually pretty close. Pretty good. It's at least 98% accuracy, I would say, which is crazy. But either way, for something that's competitive and has a lot of medals or awards or whatever at stake, you need the cameras to make sure that everybody's in the right order.
So if it's like a really like high stake race, would they have both technologies?
Yes, for sure. I mean, it's not just that, but it's also if it's a bigger meet too. If it's a really small cross country meet, we might just do our cameras, because like over the course of if there's 50 kids in a race, over the course of 20 minutes, it's really easy to get everybody just using cameras. But if there's 50 people finishing every minute, like at some big meets, you need both to keep up. But yeah,
makes sense. That's super interesting.
It's something that not a lot of people know that timers exist, but they just don't understand what goes into it. Most of the time when people come up and ask us questions, whether it's track, cross country, or road racing, it's usually user error. And it's like, why didn't I get a time? It's like, well, did you have your bib on?
Seriously?
That happens.
So kind of along those lines, like, how many times has a parent or a race participant, like, yelled at one of you guys?
Yeah, I mean, that happens, not a lot, but it does happen. Let's see, I don't think personally I've had anything too crazy happen.
Yeah.
But I've heard some horror stories from some of our guys.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. It's either not a big deal, like maybe we messed up. That happens, no doubt. But if we did, it's usually easily fixable, and it's not worth getting upset about.
Yeah.
All of that timing is really, like, nowadays uploaded live to the internet.
Right,
so
yeah.
Our parents can see all of that in real time, which obviously didn't exist when any of us were kids.
Yeah.
Kind of see if that, like, engages parents more, or does it, like, kind of give them license to not have to go to those events as frequently?
Yeah, it's more, I think it does engage parents more as opposed to making them think that they can't. Or they're like, oh, I'll just watch them on my phone, see what happens, check the results every now and then. I don't think that really happens. I think parents still want to see their kids run no matter what. But with that, though, it allows for more extended family or friends to keep track that couldn't have made it anyway, or,
Yeah. That's awesome, actually.
So,
I didn't really think of that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's great. I mean, if you've watched any recent, Olympic trials, just happened for track and other high-stake meets that get televised, what the tippy pros in the timing realm can do is insane, and it really allows for a lot of cool data to come in really fast that anybody can see, like you're saying, 10 to 20, 30 years ago, being able to see team scores in a cross-country meet at different splits on the course would have been impossible.
Yeah.
And even live, as they're finishing, would have been impossible. But now, if you watch, like, the NCAA cross-country championships, you can see who's in the lead at every split by team, not just by who's, like, the first 5 people, which is really cool.
Do you, like, nerd out and watch all those, like,
yes,
super good?
Totally.
And what's your, dream race to time?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because, like, all the cool ones also come with a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
I would say very recently, like, this kind of answers maybe another question you might have had, the Festival of Miles.
Yeah.
This past year is the first year that I got to be the main finish line timer.
Oh my gosh.
And so for me, that was the highest stakes event I've ever timed personally. I would say anything similar to that would be my dream. Like, it'd be fun to be at the Olympic trials or USA Championships or any top NCAA event, but I don't think we'd ever really get that. It's like, it's the same difference between just kind of a casual runner, never going to be able to make the Olympic trials, It's like that, with the way that kind of works in the industry. It would take a lot for us to be in a place where we could do an event like that, win the bid. But
St. Louis hosting the Olympics.
We could do
150th anniversary from the 1904 ones.
That'd be great, yeah. We could, for road racing, it's definitely not without the realm of possibility for Big River to be a part of the Olympic Trials Marathon.
Okay, yeah. Because didn't you say you've, like, helped out at some world major?
I got to help out at so the New York City Marathon, they bring in a lot of timers.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's such a big production.
Yeah.
And there's so many splits that they do, so many timing points that New York road runners, the people that manage and time it, don't have enough equipment or staff. So they bring in people and they bring in us, and we take care of a lot of where the start is. So we take care of tracking the amount of people that come into the starting area at the fort that's there. And then we also manage, like, there's multiple starting lines, so we manage a couple of those. So it's a...
Wait, I had no idea that there was multiple starting lines.
There's 3.
What?
Yeah, and they line, like, I don't know how many, a couple thousand people up at each one for all the different waves.
Jeez.
It's insane.
Yeah.
That's the most crazy event I've been ever a part of, in terms of just a mass of people.
Yeah, like just madness.
Yeah.
It sounds so overwhelming.
I mean, it was like a 2 a.m. wake up call,
Oh my
God.
goodness.
something
So,
like that. And
did you go to bed?
Right.
I've got a few hours.
Because it would be 1 a.m. our time.
Yeah.
Whew.
But yeah, I mean, there all morning. And, people, I think the first, the elites go off or the wheelchair and the elites go off at 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like
Well,
that.
and then regular runners aren't starting until 11.
Well, there's from 8:30 to noon or something. There's waves every 30 minutes.
Okay.
Something like that. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
Well, and did you, I feel like, the guy from, what is it? Nev.
Oh, from Catfish?
Yeah, the catfish guy. I feel like he does the New York City Marathon.
There's always celebrities that
Yeah.
I think they even had a celebrity wave
Yeah.
or something.
I believe so, because I think one of our old coworkers, Gretchen, she did it, and she was really excited because she was like, oh, maybe I'll see one of the guys from The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
Yeah.
And she came back and she's like, yeah, we weren't in the same wave. They were in their own wave.
I don't know if Oprah did New York or Chicago might make more sense, but
Yeah.
she had a really good time.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I was like, damn, Oprah.
Damn.
I mean, 4 hours and 30-something minutes, I want to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fact checker Laners here. Per runtothefinish.com, Oprah Winfrey ran a 4:29:20 marathon at the 1994 Marine Corps Marathon. I'm going to throw the link in the show notes so that you can read how she stacks up to other celebrity runners. Did you know that Pippa Middleton and Will Ferrell both hold a marathon time of 3:56? That's crazy.
Just probably giving free stuff out on the way, too.
Right.
Yeah.
You get a car. You get a car.
Every mile.
Yeah. We digress.
I kind of want to back up.
Sure.
Big River Racing
Race management.
Big River Race Management.
It's a mouthful.
It's not the same as Big River Shoe Store. And we've had Mike Flynn on.
Yeah.
So if you could just give us the reason, I know why.
Yeah.
Same.
But if you could just tell the tale.
Yeah. Yeah, so my boss, Matt Helbig,
Icon.
and Ben Rosario is his
Also
college
Icon.
his college teammate and roommate. After they graduated college, they came back to St. Louis and they started Big River, I think in 2006.
The shoe store.
The shoe store. They started very soon after that. They started getting questions about, hey, do you guys time races too? And stuff like that. And they're like, well, no, but maybe we can. Maybe we should.
Yeah.
And so a year later, 2007, 2008, they started to kind of, I think, the Macklin Mile, the Forest Park Cross Country Festival, events like that started around that time. Big River was the not just the sponsor, but the producer of it. With that, I think in 2008, Matt brought on Tom Eckelman, who was, for a long time, the president of the St. Louis Track Club and had been doing races in St. Louis since the 80s, managing and timing them. He was always a part of the St. Louis Marathon for a long time.
Yeah.
Before it became the Go. They became business partners, and thus Big River Race Management was born. For a long time, Matt was splitting his time between the two, and I believe it was in 2016, he sold part of the store, the Big River Running Company, to a man named Kit Keller, who owned a handful of other running stores around the country. The idea was to slowly, after year over year,
Divest.
Divest. I guess that's a good word. I didn't know that word existed, but I understand it. Started to wean off of it, and at this point, it's fully in their hands, and race management is fully in Matt's hands. Ben has moved to Arizona to coach the NAZ Elite.
That's right.
We are separate, but we have a lot of connections still. We put the store's logo on our bibs because it's more recognizable.
Yeah.
And they help us out by hosting packet pickups
Yeah.
for free and all sorts of stuff like that. Because we have a very symbiotic relationship still, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
I do love Race Management's logo, though.
It's a clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to tell one of my coworkers that a couple years ago.
Really?
Who had been there for a long time. Yeah. I was like, it's a clock.
Oh, it's so cool. It is such an analog timing clock.
Yeah,
Look,
exactly.
I love it. Well, I guess actually digital, not analog.
Well,
Analog.
the clock that it's based, the type of clock that it's based off of is not, it's electronic, obviously, but it's not like an LED.
Oh.
So it's called a flip clock. And by flip it, I mean that there's like little motors inside that physically move the little dash that creates the numbers.
Oh.
And if you are next to it while it's going, you can hear it go every second. And it makes sounds. It's fun.
That sounds so satisfying.
We don't use it very often.
So since you're so connected to the youth of America.
Okay.
Youth of the nation.
Sorry. I love it. I sent you kind of like a link to an article.
Yeah.
And I'll put the link in the show notes. It talked a lot about like the effects of multitasking youth, and like basically time constraint is one of the reasons why youth aren't as engaged in sports.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously time and money are the two biggest constraints in the world, but
yeah.
Do you ever like kind of witness just anything to that effect?
I mean, we do stuff all over the St. Louis area for cross country and track, and we go pretty far. Like, we do a lot of stuff in the city. We do a lot of stuff that is very rural.
Oh yeah.
As we go down like the 44 corridor a lot for
the farty far.
Farty far, yeah.
Farty far.
So we're out there. I mean, it's a different world from, going to cross country track meets 2 hours southwest versus 20 minutes into the heart of the city.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you see a lot of the same, impoverished things possibly.
Oh.
It's not like people are like, it's not like every time I go out, I'm like, man, these people look really poor. I don't want to say that by any means, but like you notice a difference between that and when you go to a suburban meet
Yeah.
with the big schools with 1,500 kids,
Right.
and everybody lives in a very, a nice house.
Yeah.
Or private schools, things like that. You notice the difference between the gear that they wear, the school uniforms that are issued, the shoes that they have, everything like that. And typically, often the best athletes are the ones that their parents or their school district have a lot more money and time, as you said, to train, better coaches, because they get paid more
Yeah.
at those kinds of schools. So that's not to say that there aren't great athletes everywhere. You can just definitely see a difference in the level of coaching and the level of competition between, inner city schools, some of the suburban schools, and like rural schools. So again, not to say that there aren't great athletes everywhere. I see it all the time. I see very talented kids everywhere.
Yeah.
And what's really fun is at this point, I've been doing timing for 5 years. I've gotten to watch kids grow up. I noticed someone as a freshman, and I timed them for 4 years.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Are any of the people you've timed going to the Olympics or anything?
Well, at the Festival of Miles, we bring in some of the nation's top talent for the.
I mean, some of the world's top talent.
Yeah, well, but especially in high school, the high school stuff is the most competitive, really. And
Okay.
So I don't know if you were there, if you watched it.
Not this year, I missed it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's okay. So in the girls' championship mile, the top high school girls that we could get, a girl broke the national record.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in the very next race, a girl that had been on the scene as one of the top athletes for a while in the nation, Sadie Engelhardt, she broke the national record right after that. So back-to-back races, national records broken. And Sadie, later on, just a week or two ago, ran in the Olympic trials for the 1,500.
Oh, awesome.
I mean, she was coming off the heels of a long month and a half of really hard, high-level, national-level races. And yeah, so I mean, that's someone that we'll have definitely, the next time Olympics come around, we'll be right in there, right in the mix for the national or the Olympic team. So that's fun to say that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Someone locally though, I don't think so. Definitely a lot of college athletes, but there hasn't really been a super big talent in St. Louis in a little bit that would be of that caliber that I couldn't think of right now, at least.
Have you seen any high schoolers that maybe are freshmen, sophomores that are maybe?
There's a kid at SLU right now who, as a freshman this past year, broke SLU's cross-country time record, which SLU is and has been one of the powerhouses of cross-country running in the state forever. So
yeah, that's a pretty big record. Then.
So that's a big one right there. And I think if he progresses as you'd hope, he's got a shot at being a big deal. So
I'm curious.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a little bit, just the difference you see between female runners or girls.
Yeah.
As they develop, have you seen a really impressive, maybe freshman, sophomore, high school girl that kind of just disappears? Yeah,
that definitely happens more often than it does for the boys.
Okay.
I would say. A lot of times girls might not necessarily peak as younger girls, freshman, sophomore age, but would be, a standout. And then by the time they're seniors, bodies change.
Right.
And, something happens and they just can't, they're just not at the same level, or they just don't really improve.
Yeah.
Compared to
So
boys.
everyone catches up or it passes them up.
Right, yeah. So I think when you see, this is more like a coaching thing probably more than it is a timing thing, but when you see a high school girl that really comes on the scene as a junior, senior, that's more exciting. I'm just saying generally speaking, but it's more exciting to see because I think that they have a lot more that they can do.
Yeah.
Or that they have left.
Right.
It's easy to burn out young.
Yeah.
Especially for girls.
Yeah, and I feel like that's probably any endurance type sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I played soccer growing up, and I saw it in soccer as well.
Yeah.
You're running. How do you balance your races and training plans with your job, which is races?
Right. I would say if I didn't do this job, I would do more races.
Sure.
It's hard to race when you're working every weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the races. We slow down a lot in the winter. We'll do as many races in one weekend in the fall or spring as we do in the month of January and the month of February.
Oh, wow.
So we just slow down a ton. In that time, I run a lot more. I like winter running more anyway than summer running. It's summer right now, and I feel okay because we're in the shady Tower Grove Park, and it's evening.
I feel pretty crappy most summer runs.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a slowdown
Yeah.
as it's gotten hotter here. But yeah, so I try to do the Frostbite series, a race or two of that every winter. Try to do a few races later in February, early March before we pick it back up, because that's the max of when I have a lot of time to train on my own and hopefully find a good race to do before we get busy, because we get busy mid to late March, and that kind of rides out through early June.
Gretchen, do you want to ask him the question?
Yeah.
I know the question.
Morning runner or evening runner?
Evening.
Boo!
I'm
I
sorry.
love evening run.
I have a hard time getting up sometimes. I mean, I do have to for racing, for races.
Right.
So it's why would I
Yeah.
if I don't have to?
Because you're getting up well before the racers are.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of, 3 to 5 a.m., somewhere in that range, wake-up calls. Not a ton, but enough
Yeah.
Yeah.
for races. So, it's almost kind of if it's before 4, it's I never went to bed, and it's I'm still just late. But if it's in the 4s, that's hard. It's even harder to get up, because at that point I've really gotten to deep sleep.
Yeah.
And it feels like the next day, but I didn't get enough sleep.
Oh, your REM cycle.
Yeah. It's always fun when, with my job, not getting to do many races myself, the races that I do get to do are more special.
Oh.
It just, if you did it all the time, it would, kind of loses its luster.
Yeah.
Is there any race that you always try to do every year, or is it you always try to do a new race every year?
I definitely like to do Frostbite every year.
Okay.
The Frostbite half specifically is a fun goal to have. I didn't do it this year because it was one of those days that was negative
Oh, yeah.
and then also windy.
Yeah, no.
And on the same day, we had an indoor hour-long run at the St. Louis Auto Show at the Dome in America Center. There's only 50 people, but the idea was, how far can you make it in an hour?
Yeah.
We had a bunch of timing points around, inside. It was all inside around
Is
the
that
cars.
in the dome?
Yeah. So we did a loop around the dome, and then a loop around the whole showing area
Okay.
where the cars were, and it was fun. I made a great decision that day to do that because I got second, and
Really? Congratulations.
Nice.
thank you. And it was 65 degrees or whatever in there,
Yeah.
not negative
Right.
outside.
With a wind chill.
Yeah. So
That's fun.
yeah, that was a good time. That was something different that we did.
Yeah.
I always hear people who are track runners, high school and college, mostly college, who complain about indoor track running.
Oh yeah.
Did you feel that pain or?
Not really. I mean, I felt it a little bit, I would say, but the difference is, when you're running indoor track, you're running a lot faster. You're breathing a lot heavier. It's not as consistent as just going for an hour run. So, for me, I ran in college, I did mostly 800 and down, even down to 100 meters sometimes. So, the really short sprints didn't really feel like a whole lot, but the 400, 800 indoors, you're running as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Breathing as hard as you can. There's no air movement. It's very dry. That sucked in comparison to just kind of going for an hour run.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was very good ventilation in the dome. It was much bigger,
Yeah.
than your standard indoor track.
I always feel like indoor tracks are second level.
Well, and they're very stuffy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some that are better than others.
Yeah.
Newer facilities are usually breathe better.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm guessing they wouldn't bring in outside timers for those, would they?
Say it again, sorry?
Would you guys ever time an indoor race?
We did this past year for the first time ever, actually.
Really?
At Principia College. There's not a whole lot of indoor tracks around St. Louis.
Yeah.
There's Principia, and the next closest one is at Mizzou. And the people that time the state cross-country and track meets do everything from Mizzou, too.
Gotcha.
And they're out of town.
Yeah.
And they're the same people. I was kind of referencing them earlier. that they timed the Olympic trials.
Oh.
So, I mean, they're literally, they're the best in the biz. So,
That's so cool.
so yeah, they take care of all Mizzou stuff.
Do you ever get to ask them questions, pick their brains?
I'd like to, but it's kind of like
Competitors?
small fish looking at a big fish. The big fish is going to give them the time kind of thing.
Well, have they been on a podcast while running?
I don't know. Probably not.
Calling you out, Mizzou.
But no, they're good people. They do good work. I mean, ultimately, what I care about most is I don't really care about the competition between the different companies. I care about, they're providing an awesome tool and service for people to watch the state meets in Missouri. And I do think that, it's not just because of them, but I think the state is becoming more competitive because of what they can do, and also because of, especially in cross country, the new Gans Creek cross country course in Columbia is a dedicated state-of-the-art cross-country course, which is not very many of those in the country. They were instrumental in designing that course and providing, making it so that they can provide splits on course for every K, and also displaying those splits on their video boards that they have at all the different K markers and the finish line. So it just makes it for a better experience. And, I think that a lot of the younger guys and girls that are maybe alternates or they're just going to watch their teammates, they see that, they see how awesome it is. And they're like, well, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So they want to train harder, and they want to, it motivates them to be the people that are racing and not watching. So I think ultimately that creates a better culture. And I think those guys did played their part in it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
He's begging with no hands.
Yeah, he was. There he is again.
I would crash.
It's not easy.
No,
Really?
it's not.
You guys didn't ride bikes a lot growing up?
I did, but I crashed a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't growing up. I didn't really learn how to truly ride a bike until I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah. I was I tried as a kid and I crashed a lot. Got scared. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then finally got a decent bike when I was in high school, and I was like, okay, I guess I need to actually learn how to do this.
Yeah, I can just vision my dad, me falling, and my dad like, you're fine, get back up.
Yeah.
All right.
I would just always, for some reason, veer towards the cars in the street.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness.
No, not driving, but parked.
Okay.
Still, big car, little child.
Yeah. Like in May of 2020, June-ish, when stores started kind of opening back up.
Yeah.
Maybe preemptively, but I went and I got a bike, like a nice bike that I was like, I'm going to spend some money, have a bike, and it's just going to be mine for a long time to come.
Yeah.
I got really into biking, and I think just traffic was better at that
Yeah,
time.
it definitely
There's
was.
just less people working out,
Yeah.
or driving to work and all that stuff. And I biked a lot for like 2 years, and then just I don't anymore, because especially I don't in the city as much as I was. I was born in the city a lot and riding on the roads, and anymore it's just like it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, if I do, I'll just stick to the trails
Yeah.
or run.
I always make the joke that I'm a faster runner than I am a bike rider nowadays.
Yeah.
But those were the days during the pandemic when there was no traffic.
I
I
know.
loved it.
I know. I don't want to say I miss it, but
I know,
Right?
I can do without the traffic.
yeah.
What I need to do right now is tie my shoe because it's been on my mind for the last mile and a
Yeah,
half.
good.
Got a flat tire.
Yeah. Which, wild, my Kinvara never untie. Aren't you a Kinvara person?
I do have a pair, yeah.
mock.
These are the mocks, yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a pair of, I don't remember what year they are. I think the one before that. Oh, maybe they're the exact one.
These are 13s.
Yeah.
I think you have, I want to say you have 13s.
I think they are, because it was the
Are
year
they the
before they
teal?
got really weird.
Yeah,
No.
you have 13s.
Mine are gray and they're kind of orangey.
Okay, still 13s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are those relatively new just based on how white they are? So?
These are pretty new still, yeah.
I was like, those look pretty new.
Okay, so wait, actually, let's talk about the mocks because
Sure.
those look very different from the mocks that I know.
Yeah, so these are the Mach 6 that I got on, and I think I had maybe one of the 4s and a couple of the 5s. And
Yeah.
I've loved every single pair. And these are definitely different.
Yeah.
One thing that they did different was they added some outsole. The older Machs did not have any outsole
That's
rubber.
what I'm seeing. I'm
Yeah.
seeing a ton of outsole.
Yeah, and it's still super lightweight. I think they added some cushion, or they made it more like what's in the the Mach X.
Okay.
Which the difference there is that the Mach X has a plate in it,
Yeah.
but they feel even bouncier
Ooh.
and more responsive than any of the previous versions. I guess that's always the goal between shoes,
Yeah.
right? But
Yes.
it's still every bit as smooth and comfortable. I think is the Mach has been my favorite running shoe since I had my first one a couple years ago. So they're definitely my recommendation for anyone that wants to have a very running shoe specific shoe, not just one for everyday use.
So if you traded jobs and went to the Big River Running store.
Yeah.
Back there.
I went back there. I used to be there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
When you transitioned from like, because this is something that I've actually kind of like, I've lost a lot of knowledge. Not like I know like the knowledge of shoes and everything, but like I'm like starting to hesitate to remember shoe names. Did you lose any of that when you transitioned, or are you just still like so immersed in the world that you're just on the pulse about everything still?
Yeah, I think I know. I definitely recognize if I see someone wearing shoes that were new when I was selling them.
Okay.
I definitely recognize those, and I could name a lot of them.
Yeah.
But, obviously they change over time, so it's hard to keep up entirely. But I feel like I'm good at, like, recognizing, like, patterns and stuff with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
For example, like, I notice I can, like, see a car really quick and know exactly the make and model.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, so that same thing kind of goes with the shoes. So I just, I'm at races all the time, so I see all these different kinds of shoes, and I just know what they are. Not always, by any means, but, it's like cars, too. A lot of them are the same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people wear the same stuff. It's not like there's a million different options.
That's true.
But anymore, could I sell a shoe? I guess I could.
Yeah.
I need some practice.
I feel like you could.
I could sell some mocks.
Yeah. You almost sold me on them.
Yeah.
If you come in with mocks next time, I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
laugh.
die.
I have a pair of mocks. I should have worn them today.
Yeah.
But I think I knew you had Kinvara and mocks, so.
Yeah.
Because I've had to go grab your shoes before.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I like the Kinvara more for when I go to the gym.
Yes.
And I might do like a mile or two on the treadmill and then work out.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, these are coming up to their last 100 miles, so
Yeah.
I'm now just doing their like final runs, having some last.
Their farewell tour.
Yes, around St. Louis.
That's great.
Seeing the sights.
We'll take them up to Creve Coeur Lake, give them a little dip.
Mm.
So, okay, at the Macklin Mile.
Yeah.
What is it? Because I know that is more of like Matt Helbig's thing, I feel like.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely his baby.
So what does your involvement then look like for it?
For the Macklin Mile?
Yeah.
Not too intense. I'm kind of more of in a support role because we have road race timers that are better than me that, take care of that. And then Matt, and every year we have an intern from Maryville that helps us with, garnering sponsorships and vendors and things like that for
That's awesome.
that event. And so this year her name was Hallie. She did coordinate a lot of like the festival area,
That's amazing.
and stuff like that. So I'm kind of just kind of a guy that's been there a lot. So I just know kind of how things generally go and help set up where I can.
Gotcha.
While everyone else kind of has more of their specific responsibilities.
So you're a jack of all trades at that point?
Yeah.
That's amazing. As it continues to grow, like, what are do you know any of, like, Matt's objectives for it? Like, what does the future look like for it?
Well, this is the second year in a row that we hosted the RRCA National Championship for the mile. And the RRCA is the Road Runners Club of America. You can think of it kind of like a club version of USATF. And they have national championships throughout the country for different distances.
Yeah.
Like USATF does. They're not nearly as competitive, but it's still something fun. It's a way for them to support local events, and they provide some money for it. They provide extra awards for the overall winners and masters groups, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think the goal is to continue having them every year because it's like a bidding process.
Okay.
You gotta apply for it. So they've helped us kind of boost our numbers a little bit, especially coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
And making it more competitive at the top end, but also still something that's accessible for everyone. So I don't think we've ever had 2,000 participants before. So this, eventually, we'd want to get there. That'd be cool.
I mean, it is one of my favorite races of all times.
I'd love to at some point if I ever get the chance to actually run it.
You've never ran it?
No, because when I was in college, I didn't really know about it, to be honest.
Okay.
But then out of college, I started working for Big River immediately, so
Yeah.
You didn't really, couldn't really.
I was always working it.
Well, this is the first year I ran it.
And?
I liked it. It
Yeah.
was hard because I'm not in mile shape at all.
Yeah.
It's so different.
It is. I was like, I don't think I've ever felt my lungs burn like that.
Yeah.
I really felt the uphill more this year than like in previous years. So my time was dismal.
Yeah.
That like one segment of uphill, I was like, when did this get so long?
I think that's when I was like, I passed you and I was just like,
Yeah. She just like grunted. I was like, "What? Who's next?"
His body is not built for speed. It's built for just knocking out some miles.
Right.
Do you have a favorite park to run in St. Louis?
Forest Park. I mean,
Woo!
yeah. The Tower Grove Park here is second.
Okay.
For sure. It's also, I mean, both. I recently moved into the city. I'm closer to both parks now, so I really like that. I can just choose. I'm like, oh, which one do I want to run in today? You know.
Yeah.
So, but Forest Park is just bigger, and I feel like I'm always, no matter how many miles I run there, I'm always discovering new things. So.
Yeah, I feel like you can go so many different ways and it doesn't get old.
Yeah.
Different times of day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's dark outside, it looks completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the running club that I go to every Wednesday.
Dogtown.
Woo!
We run into the park every time. So.
That's awesome.
So it's fun to flood the park with 150 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually gonna have JC on soon.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I did name drop you.
Good.
Well, mostly because I saw her post happy birthday for you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Josh Vitoux.
Thank you.
I'm not going to ask you your age unless you want me to.
28.
28.
Yeah.
Woo! So old!
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And Josh, thank you so much for your time today.
Of course.
We really appreciate it.
Yes,
appreciate
I feel like
you having
I've
me on.
learned so much
Yeah.
about race management that I won't do another race the same.
Yeah, happy
I was
to
thinking like, oh look, I'm in the field.
Yeah.
Divulge the secrets.
Yeah.
happy to give you and everyone else that's listening some insight.
Yeah.
I do want to shout out Jake Goldsboro at Start to Finish. He's the former Fleet Feet. He's a good friend at Dogtown as well. And he does a lot of good work around the city with the St. Louis area with race management and timing. So
He does.
So yeah, he's a good guy. And similar to what I was saying about the people that do the state meets, just anybody that helps improve the running community in St. Louis by providing good service for everyone, I think is worthy of praise in my book. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Awesome. Love that.
And cut.
That's a wrap.
Happy Pace. Like this episode and channel if you found your happy pace while listening. Subscribe to us on Spotify, YouTube, and now Apple Podcasts. You can find us on social media at happy_pace_podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Email us happypace@houseofmachka.com if you have any questions, comments, and ideas for guests. This is a House of Machka production. Our music is written, performed, and recorded by Grant Underhill, Mike Plasmeier, and Jake Laconte. Our graphic designer is Rachel Slingluff. Our marketing manager is Gretchen Brune. This episode was recorded and edited by Elaine Sims. This episode was recorded in front of a live Tower Grove audience.
So that's how we got to 26.2 miles. We can thank you now, Good morning! Wait, is that Casey? We did a shout out already this morning! We see you! Hi, Bonnie! Morning! Hi, Dog! Morning! Hi! Morning! 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 Hey, Drew! I wonder about Drew. Morning! Oh, hey, Kim! It's great. I knew someone that I ran past. Morning. 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 Good job. I'm sorry. Morning. 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 Also really need to go to the bathroom. Morning. 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 And morning. Morning.
Goodness, Benny.
Morning.
Morning. Time to get back up and do it
Morning.
again.
Hey, guys.
Guys,
Hey, Luke.
just past some of the Big River Racing team.
That's perfect.
That was perfect.
Morning. But morning.
Morning. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Rita! Do you want to be
Morning.
on the podcast? We're recording right now.
Elaine is recruiting her next podcast guest.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I'm smiling.
Hi, Haley.
Haley, yeah,
Yay!
We're on
Yeah.
right now. We're recording. Say hi. Hi. Good morning. 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 Morning.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Lauren.
Morning.
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 Morning. Sorry.
Morning. Morning.
I think.
Good morning. Morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning. Morning. Hey! How are you?
Hey, hey! Hey, hey! Hey, hey!